couple of days ago, I found this tweet that was trying to call out the cringy dialogue in Hi-Fi Rush and how nobody was complaining about it in the same way that Forspoken was. So that inspired me to make a video explaining why Hi-Fi Rush's dialogue isn't actually cringy, and why Forspoken's dialogue actually is. But before I go any further, I just want to note that there seems to be some console war bias thrown in the mix of all this discussion, because Forspoken was only released for PlayStation consoles, while Hi-Fi Rush was only released for Xbox consoles. And I'm going to be transparent and say that I don't fall into either of these categories, because I only game on PC, and both of these games are available on Steam. So if you clicked on this video expecting me to defend Hi-Fi Rush in the lens of it being an Xbox console exclusive, I'm not, because I think that both the current Xbox and PlayStation systems are horrible in different ways, but that's a topic for another day. So in case y'all didn't know, a couple of weeks ago there was a cinematic open world game called Forspoken. They got released with mixed reception. It's not a horrible game, and if you look hard enough, you can find videos on YouTube of people defending it. But the general consensus is that Forspoken has a bad story with a shitty main protagonist, and the gameplay had some good ideas, but they were never really executed properly. Then about a week later, you had this third-person hack-and-slash game with a Saturday morning cartoon vibe called Hi-Fi Rush. And it was released with nearly unanimous praise from both critics and fans alike. Personally, I've played the first few hours of Hi-Fi Rush, and I haven't played Forspoken yet. But I have seen the trailers and enough of the story to make a fair assessment of what I'll be going over in this video. I know it sounds unfair to judge a game you haven't played like that, but since I'm only going to be analyzing the general plot, atmosphere, and the characters, and of course the dialogue, I think it's rational enough. I don't need to play the game to judge the dialogue. So the setup of Forspoken's plot goes like this. An angsty female criminal from New York gets isekai'd into a world inspired by a fantasy setting. Now, while there's nothing wrong with this on paper, in practice most people agree that the way the writers handled it was very poorly done. And the main character is nothing we haven't seen before in media. She's just another cliched, sailor-mouthed angsty woman with meta commentary revolving around identity politics. Now, I'm not one of those people who thinks games shouldn't be political, because some of the best games of all time, like Metal Gear Solid 2 and Final Fantasy X, have political commentary in them that you can pick up if you look for it. But the thing about those titles is that they wanted to make a good story first and a message second, while Forspoken puts a blatant image in your head about what type of narrative you're going to see. That's the difference between having politics in your game and shoving in identity politics where it doesn't belong. So now that you understand what the general vibe of Forspoken is all about, let's take a look at the part where Frey gets her powers.
Did I just do that?
Well, definitely with my assistance.
I did not just do that.
We did.
I just moved shit with my mind.
Perhaps our connection has somehow awoken some abilities.
I just moved shit with my mind.
I just keep hearing I.
I just moved shit with my freaking mind! Yeah, okay, that is something I do now. I do magic, talk to sentient cuffs, kill jacked up beasts. You know what? I'll probably fly next.
Now you're just being ridiculous.
Oh, that's too far. Good to know there's a line.
If you could just master these new abilities, with my help, of course.
Did you not just see me take out that gnarly beast? Oh, bring it, you mangled monsters!
Needless to say, the dialogue is very cringy. Not just because of how forced it is, but because of how unlikable Frey as a main character is. Now, let's move on to Hi-Fi Rush. It's about a 20-something-year-old poser named Chai with a broken arm who dreams of wanting to be a rock star. So he goes to this facility called Project Armstrong that specializes in cybernetic limb replacements, only for him to end up being marked as a defect due to an MP3 player being merged with his chest during the limb replacement process. So he, along with a rebel chick named Peppermint, team up so that he can escape the facility, and she can investigate the conspiracy behind Project Armstrong, who are supposedly using their patients to control their will. Even though some may argue that Chai is an annoying, cringy main protagonist, I disagree 100%. The game's story doesn't try to prop Chai up on a pedestal or make him look better than he actually is. And him being disabled isn't meant to be a call to action. Project Armstrong isn't meant to be an allegory for the corruption of Big Pharma, and Peppermint doesn't act like a girl boss whenever Chai does something stupid. The story is just about a happy-go-lucky, energetic man with a dream to fulfill. He's blockheaded for sure, but in a slapstick, Saturday morning cartoon way that you can't help but root for him. So now that you understand what the story and the main character of Hi-Fi Rush is all about, let's take a look at the part where Chai gets his powers.
I'm getting this right... First, music player in my chest. Pretty sure that's not supposed to be there. Second, it's powering up my new robot arm. Third, it's making everything sync up with the beat. And... this sounds ridiculous, but when the music kicks in, it feels like I'm on a stage. Whoa. Ooh, yeah! And the crowd goes wild.
Chai! 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 Chai!
Chai, 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 chai.
Is this the guy?
You want an autograph?
Wow.
I'll get you an autograph. Thank you.
Already you can see a difference, and it shows just how having better writing can impact the dialogue. Even though Chai is clearly hamming up the dialogue due to his energetic personality and obvious delusions of grandeur, it's balanced by the robot enemies looking at him like he's an idiot. Frey, on the other hand, is such an unlikable character to start with in a game that's supposed to be taken seriously, that even if you could relate to her getting excited over her powers, you wouldn't want to. There's such a clear confidence in Chai's voice that it makes Freya from Forspoken look like Oscar bait by comparison. So that's what the dialogue of Hi-Fi Rush is. It's not cringy, it's cheesy. And for a game that's trying to be like a cartoon, that's perfectly acceptable. Unlike Forspoken, where the dialogue is cringy because it feels forced in to make the character look more endearing when she actually isn't. So that's all I really wanted to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.